Hey, John with Simple Property Management here. Congratulations, you've made it to into the middle of December 2023. It's been a long year and we're here. So today we're going to get going. We're going to talk about how rents are going down, days on market's going up, how rent reductions everywhere. It's kind of like Oprah, rent reductions for you, rent reductions for you, rent reductions for everyone right now. We're going to show another chart that shows the CPI rent figures lag behind the actual rent by about 12 months. Another figure that doesn't hit the news a whole lot we're going to show is that wages right now are actually going up faster than rents. You don't hear that in the news a whole lot, so I figured it would be interesting to cover that. And then we're going to talk about our 2024 market outlook. All right, so let's get rolling here. So market times are going up. As you can see, I'll put my mouse over here. As you can see, I don't know, July, August-ish, rent, average days on market started going up. October 2023 was 53% higher on market days compared to October 2021. Leads on market are dropping like a rock, kind of like Chevy, like a rock. Right now, you got it's September-ish, October. The leads really started drying up. We watch this weekly. We're still doing all right, but now is the time to make sure that your leasing process is really, really good, really tight. You're following up, and we'll kind of talk about some of those things here in a little bit. But you really want to make sure your leasing process is spot on right now. And then rent reductions, again, like I said, with Oprah, rent reductions for everyone right now, uh, way higher than normal. And as you can see, all of 2023, 2022, 2023, all those were basically the highest on record for rent reductions. CPI, as you can see, the CPI peaked, CPI rent, I should say, peaked in March. And as you can see further back, March 2022, the asking rent growth peaked. Asking rent, that is that number actually comes from RealPage, which we've talked about before. But now we are at 0.3% year over year change as of August 2023, 0.3% change in asking rent. This is an interesting one. You've got your apartment rent change went way up May 2022, and it's going way down. But the average wage has gone up. And as you can see beforehand, it always kind of stayed the same. And then COVID, everything went crazy with COVID, but we aren't really close to those lines being close together. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting, I think. So how are you going to rent units right now? First, you want to price it right. If you don't price it right, it's going to sit. It's going to get stale. That is a reason also that we are not pre-listing units as early anymore because we found they just sat, nobody could see them, and then they got stale. But price it right. I'm not against starting a little bit higher than what you think market rent is, but you really want to be right around that market rent so that as you drop them, you're getting in line with market rents as quickly as possible. You want to pre-qualify your prospects when they call. So if they call, say your rent is $1,000 a month, and let's say your application standard is you need to see three times income compared to rent. So you want to see $3,000 of income. So when that prospect calls or emails, you're going to want to ask them, do you make at least $3,000 of verifiable income? Things like that. So try to pre-qualify them and make sure you're not wasting a trip. They're not wasting a trip if they're not going to qualify for your property anyways. You want to take nice photos. These don't need to be professional photos that you pay, $100 or $200 to take. These can be nice photos. Just pay attention. Open the blinds to get a little more light in. Make sure your window or your windows. Make sure your lights are on. Make sure you're going during a time of day that you get the most natural light. So we're in December right now. So it is sometimes challenging to go through those. It seems like 2 hours a day that we actually get good lighting. out there. So just take nice photos. Um, you don't need to take, you don't need to take 40 photos for a 2 bedroom, 1 bath cookie cutter apartment. 10 to 20. Our stats actually show anything more than 3 photos is going to help you. And I think on the other end, you take too many photos, it can also help talk the prospect out of even looking at your property. You're going to want to write a nice description. It doesn't need to be super long. It can just, the stats we've seen is 400 to 800 words max. Anything over that, you're going to start losing people. They don't need a book. They don't want to read a book when talking about your or looking at your property. And then I kind of put these in backwards order, but you want to allow showings ASAP. So if somebody calls you today, they should be able to get a showing tomorrow or the next day. Our stats from ShowMojo show that when somebody can view the property within a day or two, the chances of them actually showing up to that showing are much, much higher. So we used to actually require 3 days notice. Now we've dropped that down to under a day. They can go view a property. If you are meeting prospects at the property, you're going to want to make sure that they confirm with you before going to the property. We allow confirmation up to an hour and a half beforehand. I'll leave that up to you. Or you can do an open house. Open houses are great. And the best time to do that open house on the weekend is going to be somewhere between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. ish, 1 or 2 on Saturday. Those are great times. That's when most people are out looking at the properties, again, from our data that we have. And then you're going to follow up with prospects. So when they email in or they call you, you're going to answer that. Hopefully you're answering those calls. If not, you're losing people. We actually answer our leasing calls 24/7, 365, whether they call or email. And then if they email in, you're going to want to email them back. We have an auto email that goes back. We're also additionally personally emailing those prospects right now. After showings, at your open house, you're going to have them write down their names and stuff. You'll have all their information, follow up with those prospects. I will tell you, Yasmin, our leasing coordinator right now, is working harder than she ever has to find good paying residents. So make sure you have your leasing process dialed in. Make sure it's really good. You're following up with people, you're getting feedback from people. Reduce the rent if you're not getting very many showings, things like that. So our 2024 market outlook, I think it could be challenging. We'll see. There are some things that give me a little bit of positivity and some things that make me go, it could still be challenging. So luckily the rents seem to be leveling out slowly. So we're seeing the rent reductions or the asking rent price, it's starting to level out. So getting closer and closer to not lowering rents, I should say. But you also are seeing where interest rates are still high. I know they just dropped them, but they're still high compared to what they used to be, at least. Households have historic debt levels again. Student loan repayments came back this fall. You're also seeing, and I think a big reason why rents retracted, it's kind of the whole economics 101. You're seeing short-term rentals turning into long-term rentals. You're seeing people that can't sell their homes that are turning them into rentals, and these new build projects are still coming on market. So you have a lot of supply and not as much demand. Typically, so we pull data from Zillow every day. We typically in the summer, late summer, early fall, our average units on market was anywhere from 715 to 815 units in the West Michigan area. Now we're closer to, we've been over 1,100 units some days. Right now, yesterday when we did the import, it was 1,095 units. So there are a lot of units on the market right now. And if you're in Grand Rapids, so your last reminder, January 1st, 2024, the City of Grand Rapids lead ordinance takes effect. You can find information on that on our blog. We've done a couple of videos on that. They're going to do lead swipes at city certifications. So if you have properties that are coming up in the first quarter of 2024, get those in before the end of the year so that you don't have to worry about that. I will say, however, that the city does not seem to have a lot of lead testers that they can give out the names of. So my hope is maybe they'll push that back. And if they do push that back, then you're going to want to continue to push up your city certification. So, what we're going to do, for example, is if they do push it back, anything that was due that's coming up due in the second quarter of 2024, we'll push those up ASAP, get those done, and continue kind of pushing city certifications up. So that's kind of our outlook. If I can get there we go. That's our outlook for 2024. Sorry about that. John with Simple Property Management. If you have any questions, feel free to call or email us. Thank you very much.